Hello, welcome back to my podcast, Indigosprites Craft Podcast, episode 4. My name's Sue. I will point out a quirkiness of mine, which I'm sure that many of you have noticed, that I find it very difficult to look at the camera, because when my eyes are on the camera, I feel as though I'm not quite sure if I'm actually showing up on the screen, or whether the camera needs adjusting or whatever. So I tend to look at myself on the screen to make sure that what I'm showing you is on focus and in the area it should be. And until I learn, because I'm still very used to this, how to connect the two together, then that's the way it is. So, without further ado, let's get on with this craft podcast, which is mostly about knitting, crochet and stitching, but I dabble in all sorts of crafts when the mood takes me. And I will put all the admin stuff about me, how to contact me, where I am on social media, and very detailed notes. I'm known for my detailed notes for the entire podcast, so that you can follow up on things that you're particularly interested in. So, here we go. So what finishes have I got? I'm slightly late bringing this podcast because I was particularly busy last week and the weekend, but normally I try and bring them out once every 2 weeks. Here we are. These are my Claude Monet socks that I have completed. Absolutely love the colour of these, which is showing up quite true to life, maybe slightly darker you'll get in there. Absolutely love the colours, beautiful colours. And I may have mentioned in my last podcast that Opal Sock Yarn brought out 8 different balls of Claude Monet themed sock yarns. This is one of them. It's the first pair I've made. And this particular colourway was based on his painting La Grande Canal, the Grande Canal. And I have to say, I looked it up on the internet, and these colours are very, very true to the painting. And like I said, I'm absolutely delighted with it. I think the colours are amazing. I don't do matchy-matchy. When a sock yarn, in my opinion, my personal opinion, is as busy as this, then there's not a lot of point. So there are bits of it that look as though they're matchy-matchy, but that is total coincidence and nothing that I've done. But you can see when it gets to the toe that they're very different. I did a round toe, which is freely available on a blog on the internet, which I will link to in the descriptions below, which is underneath this corner of the video that you're watching. There's a sort of downward drop arrow. If you click on that, then the descriptions are in there, and you will see the links. I haven't blocked these, washed them yet, so you can still see slight tracking lines, because I use DPNs. I've always used DPNs for socks. But I wanted to show you the finished pair today. So I will put all the details below, as I said. The yarn, I think I've still got the ball band in here actually, even though there's another pair of socks in here now. Yes, I have. See if there's any other relevant information. I use 2.5mm DPNs, Addy DPNs. They are good, and perhaps they're my second go-to brand of knitting needles. And my first go-to brand is Knit Pro Zings. Absolutely love those. I don't think there's anything in the world like those needles. And stop wittering on, Sue, and show the people the ball band. And there it is, there's the painting that it's based on. Claude Monet. There's actually all 8 of the paintings on the back showing you the colours that the other sock yarns come up in. But like I said, I do have all 8 colours, which are, let's see if I can actually get to these, on the bottom of that one there. Not sure what one I'll do next. I'm making a different pair at the moment. There we are. It's a bit low, isn't it? That's better. So I'm not sure, because this ball band is all in German, I'm not sure what number is the shade and what is the dialogue here, but I'll just give them both to you. 9686 and 2074. And it's the 100 gram, 75% Superwash and 25% polyamide. So that's the socks. I'm going to keep leaning over one side to pick things up and then leaning the other side to put them down, so I can keep track of where I am. Now the other finished object is a crochet little excuse me, just need to take a sip of drink. I've had a little bit of a sore throat all week. The other finished object is, get a piece of paper here to no easy way to hold this. There. A Crochet Butterfly, which I crocheted in DMC Natura, which I believe is cotton, in 3 different colours, a dark peach, medium peach and a cream. And it is a butterfly that is made in one piece. So initially it looks like a big flower. It's actually a picture of it. Excuse me. There's a picture of it on my Instagram account. And it shows you the one piece, and then it shows you the folded over. You fold it in half and it makes this beautiful butterfly shape. Again, it is a free pattern, which I will link to in the descriptions below. And so you fold it in half. You follow the pattern for the, well, initially it looks like a flower, as I said. You fold it in half and then you do a chain for the body and antennae. Is it antenna? I think so. And then secure it in the middle. And it's so pretty, and I would like to actually make a bunting of these one day, all in different colours. How pretty, actually probably now is the time to start doing it with spring coming up, but how pretty would that look? And you see the other side is exactly the same. And you've got the 2 sections there where it's folded in half to make the butterfly shape. But that is so pretty. I made this fairly recently. I'm trying to think of I think I used a 4mm hook to make it. Probably a 3.5mm hook to make it. So yeah, that's my little crochet butterfly. It is going to fly away now. So that's my finishes. Next, what am I working on? Well, I'm going to start with the cross stitch. I'll show you the finished picture in a minute, but at the moment, there we are. actually just pick up some of the sparkle in the fabric as well. And this is designed by Emma Congdon. I'll get behind this. It might show up a bit better. And it is, Emma Congdon is a UK designer, I believe, who is famed for her cross-stitch patterns in typography, and this is one of them. It was gifted to me by my daughter at Christmas, and it's a PDF download, but my daughter had printed it off for me and given me all the skeins to stitch it. I already had a fabric stash, and I actually got this from my fabric stash. It's not the called for fabric. This was, I think it's a 16 count Ada from Sparklies, which is a stitchy fabric firm in the UK, and they do hand-dyed fabrics as well, beautiful fabrics. And last year for my birthday, my daughter gave me a whole load of a mix of beautiful fabrics from Sparklies, and this was one of them, so I thought I would put this on here. And because it has a sparkle in it, to me that was depicting the bubbles in the tonic, because it spells out, when life gives you lemons, make a G&T. I always try and live by that. And I've just started, you can see I've started the top of the M and the E and the very swirly L at the top there, and a little bit of pattern. I've loosened the hoop a little so the fabric doesn't hold the memory of the hoop being on there too much, but normally I'd have this quite tight as a drum. And the hoop, I have wrapped in lace to ensure the wood doesn't stain the fabric while I'm working on it. So that's as far as I've got with that one. Now I will show you the finished picture, which I managed to bring up on the internet. I've got the pattern, but I haven't got the finished picture. Now it's going to glare a bit, so bear with while I try and get the best possible angle, which might be there actually. I can't go the other way because the window's there and it'll blow the camera out. So, when life gives you lemons, make a G&T. What else are you supposed to do with them? So, that's, my daughter also gave me the threads to make it with, which are in this little box here, making it very portable should I want to take it out and work on it. My hands are always busy, I have to say, my hands are never still. I find it very, very difficult to sit and be still, I must admit. But what better way to combat that than to do a bit of crafting. So that's the first project I've been working on since the last podcast. And the second one, in the last podcast I mentioned that Bavarian crochet being the main reason I absolutely had to teach myself to crochet, because I was searching on Amazon one day, can't quite remember what for, but it must have been something to do with crochet, because up in my feed said you may also like this, and it was a book on Bavarian crochet. And actually I wonder if sorry, I just bashed the table. I hope I didn't make this easy. I'm not even sure. Don't think it's there. I actually think it is. Excuse me, folks. I may as well do the book review all in one go and make it this book. But this, I saw this, Learn to Do Bavarian Crochet. It's an American publication by Annie's Attic, and it is by Jenny King. I believe her instructions can also be found online as well on how to do Bavarian crochet. But I saw the front cover of this and I knew I had to teach myself to crochet. So this was the reason, at the age of 50, I taught myself to crochet. I'll go back to that book again in a minute. And I have made, I think it's about 4 Bavarian crochet blankets in the past. And here is the one that I started at the weekend. And it's in the lovely teal blue, oatmeal and rust colours. I think I'm going to leave it in those colours. And the Bavarian crochet design is done in 2 rows. I know I'm a bit cack-handed at this, but bear with. Let's get rid of the tail end there. And you go, the bottom segment, you go all around doing all the bottom segment, and then once you've done your setup square at the beginning, and then you go around a second time to put on this curved top segment. It's all done in UK treble crochet. And there are some double crochet and chains, but that's all there is to it. Now I decided to do 4 rounds in the middle. To me, I thought that just looked better, and then I just do 2 of the other colours, but then it will just be 2 going forward. Like I said, I'll probably leave it at those 3 colours. I started with the teal and the oatmeal. Not sure what else I was going to add to it at the time. I tend to wing it a bit and decide as I go. I had thought about the rust, but my son was here at the weekend and I said to him, what colours do you think would go with what I've done so far? And he looked up and said straight away, actually I think the rust would go. And they are strangely opposites on the colour wheel, but I actually think that it makes it pop. I love those colours together. So that is Bavarian crochet. I'm going to write my own pattern. I don't believe that it actually exists in UK terms at the moment. It might do by now, but last I looked it didn't. So I'm going to write my own pattern, and I will put it out there at some point as well. So that's my new crochet project on a 4.5mm pony hook. Now my normal preference for hooks are soft handle hooks, but with this pattern on one of the rows you've got 8 stitches on the crochet hook before you then pull them through all back onto one. So I got an ordinary pony 4.5mm hook because it has more room. The soft handle ones are about that much of it is the soft handle with this much of the hook, which is a little bit of a squash and a little bit feels a bit awkward when you try and manoeuvre 8 stitches on that amount of space. It's much easier to do it on this amount of space. So that's the hook I use, and I'll just show you the yarn, which is got threads of everything everywhere. That's part of a crafter's life. This is the Aldi 400g Aran yarn, and this, anyone who knows Aldi, or if you don't, Aldi have special buys every week, normally on a Sunday and a Thursday, and they have different things at different times of the year. And normally end of February, March time and end of September, October time is the Yarn and Crafts special buys. I think they should sell it all the time in my opinion, but I suppose I would. So this is the 400 gram teal version in Aran, and I believe it is 75% acrylic, 25% wool. This is the oatmeal. Again, Aldi, 75% acrylic, 25% wool. And the rust is actually King Cole. King Cole Aran, I believe it's the same, 75% acrylic, 25% wool. And I wonder, yes, here it does. It picks out the little tweedy bits in there, which also pick out the lovely tealy blue that I've got in the centre of my Bavarian crochet. And that's King Cole. I love working with the 400 gram balls of Aran. Make lovely yarn to do a Bavarian crochet blanket with, or any crochet blanket. As we know, crochet tends to eat more yarn than knitting, and the 400 gram balls, of which you can see I have some on that side of my shelving, that absolutely ideal for that, because unless the pattern calls for it, which incidentally this does, you can change colours every 2 rows, or you can keep it. I've actually seen one that has been done, the entire thing has been done in something similar to that oatmeal colour, and the entire thing is absolutely stunning. So you can actually do it in 1 colour, or change rows every 2 colours, change colours every 2 rows. I haven't even had a G&T today yet. Yeah, so it's up to you, and I'll just give you a quick look at the book now. So this is it, which I believe is still available if you want to learn in American terms. But I will be bringing out the pattern in UK terms, and also because I changed a small part of it, which to me was a bit neater for me, for my style. So on the back of it, it shows you the various projects, which are a bit dated in some respects. Blankets never date, but 1 or 2 of them might be in colour. Colour-wise, I think might be slightly dated these days. But there are some of the projects. I'll see if I can find you non-glaring versions of them on the camera. That's the beautiful colours that were used for this particular model. I think are absolutely stunning. There it is. Just do a quick flick through. That's a sort of close-up of the start of Bavarian crochet. How cosy does that look? Doesn't show. How cosy does that look? I'll just show you one more. Now when I made my first Bavarian crochet blanket, I just need to cover the pattern side of it up. I didn't fully understand. That's a lovely black and white shawl. I didn't fully understand the instructions in the book, and I had to look it up online, but I was able to find it and I was able to work it out. So, which you do get sometimes, I guess. Actually, I'll just show you this one as well. Bavarian crochet blanket. There is, I believe Jenny bought a second Bavarian crochet book out where she makes a few. There's not, I don't think, loads of places you can go with Bavarian crochet, if I'm honest. To me, it's most suitable for blankets. But then again, I haven't exactly tried, so who knows. That's the back of the waistcoat that I just showed you. But it's a lovely book. It's not very big. It's got, on the whole, good instructions. I think the reason I struggled with it was because I was very new to crochet. I did learn doing a granny square. Let's put that over there. I did learn on doing the granny square, but the Bavarian was the second blanket I did. So I think it's probably my lack of knowledge that made me struggle with it a little bit anyway. But I got there and I didn't look back. So yeah, that's Bavarian crochet and a pattern to look forward to in the future, or look up Jenny King on the internet. I believe she's got the instructions on how to do Bavarian crochet on her blog, if I remember rightly. But I will try and find it and link to it in the notes below. So that's the second thing that I'm working on. And the third thing, I've actually got more, but I can't keep showing you things I haven't made that much progress on, because that just gets boring. Once again, Living in My Sock Bag by Ellie of Craft House Magic. I actually use this one over and over again. I rarely have more than one pair of socks on the go. So it tends to get used over and over again. I have, I think on my second podcast, I showed you what I tend to use mostly for project bags, which are the inexpensive cotton ones. The cotton tote bags, which you can also decorate yourself. So if you're interested in that, go and have a watch. But here's my current pair of socks. Oops. Come on, camera, behave. I think that is fairly close. And the yarn, I can actually hold this like this on here. The yarn is Regia, and on the actual ball band, I'll get the ball band out, it looks as though to me anyway, there is a slight orangey tinge in the stripe of the picture of the finished sock on the ball band. But as you can see, there's no hint of an orangey stripe in it. It's more camouflage in my opinion. So this is Regia Festival Color 4-ply sock yarn. It's 100 grams, 420 meters, 459 yards, and I believe it is the usual 75% superwash, 25% nylon, machine washable. I'm using my Addy DPNs again. I don't know why. I just don't think I'm so excited at starting a new pair of socks. I pick up the same needles over and over again, and as you might be able to see there, they are getting a bit worn out on the top, just here. I don't think, because I actually love the Knit Pros, but I don't think to always get them out. The time that I do is when I'm using a yarn which is too similar to the colour of the needles that I'm using at the time, and Now my Knit Pro Zing Zing 2.5 I believe are a dark yellow goldy colour. So if I'm using a gold colour yarn, I would pick up my Addies because the colour clash isn't so annoying to my eyes. So yeah, that's the pair. Now you probably might be able to see that I've actually done the first one, but I'll show you a close-up when they're both made, which should be next podcast. I think that is all the information required on that one. So that's my working on. Days Gone By is this shawl. Oh, it's quite chilly without that round my neck, excuse me. Days Gone By, which is a virus shawl, which is a free pattern on the internet. Made in Stylecraft Candy Swirl Apple Sour colourway. I use 2 cakes, it's cake yarn. I use 2 cakes because I like my shawls nice and big and cosy, but you can actually make a smaller version out of one. I believe Heather Lear of the Patchwork Heart has made hers with one. And this virus shawl again is freely available on the internet. I believe it is a what do you call them? The diagram pattern rather than a written pattern, a chart pattern. But there is a lady called Bella Coco who you probably, if you're crocheters, will know in the crochet world. She does beautiful crochet and she does excellent tutorials on YouTube. She actually does a tutorial on how to crochet this on YouTube, and again I will link to her. It's the trouble with taking things off to show you. Yes, I will link to Bella Coco's YouTube video below for those of you interested in making your own virus shawl. The pattern's been out quite a while now, but that comes under my Days Gone By section anyway. Now, planning ahead, I'm still trying to find the time to do punch needle embroidery. As I said in my last podcast, I have sourced a picture. Now I'm trying to source the fabric. Generally, it's very popular craft in America, and generally they seem to do punch needle embroidery on monk's fabric. I need to do a search to see if there's a monk's fabric in this country, or is it just a name for another fabric, a name for a fabric that we might have a different name for, which so often happens. So I will try and have a go at that and show you some progress next time. Now, new stuff. That would be the cup I've been drinking out of. It's got some coffee in it, so I have to be a bit careful. Let's bring it a bit closer. And it is by the company that I believe, excuse my hands for a moment, is from the Netherlands. I cannot pronounce the company name, but this is the lovely mug that I was gifted. I will spell the company name, which I'm sure you all know. It's very famous in the yarn world. SCHEEPJES. So I'm sure some of you know how to pronounce that. And the inside of it is, you can probably just see there, dark red, and so is the handle. And I got this one and another one by the same company with a different picture on, gifted to me, which was very kind. Oh, that's cold. Just because I've had a little bit of a sore throat this week, I need a little drink now and then. So that was the new thing since last time, and the other new thing is, it's new to me anyway. My daughter gave me all her Stylecraft batik yarn, which is just here, and fills up that cube nicely. Not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but absolutely love that. Probably a blanket. And lastly is, I've already done the book because I did the Bavarian crochet for you. So that's it really. Over the next couple of weeks I'm going to bring my Bavarian crochet blanket along, probably finish another pair of socks. Who am I kidding? Probably. I will finish another pair of socks. Bring my stitching on a lot. I absolutely love stitching, but don't really seem to do a great deal of it. There always seems to be so much else to do. But I think the rest of the weekend I'm going to do some stitching and thoroughly enjoy it. And I'm trying to create a pattern from a finished piece, which is finished and designed by my daughter. When I say finished, it's not actually mounted in a picture or anything like that, but it's a completed cross-stitch picture. So I'm going to try and get that on the software so that can come out as a pattern as well, as some people on Instagram already started showing an interest in my daughter's designs. So that's the knitting, the crochet, the cross stitch, and have a go at the punch needle embroidery. Now I'm also going to, I have a subscription to the cotton and twine cross stitch boxes that come out monthly, and I've just received one yesterday, and I'm going to unbox it on YouTube for those of you who may be interested in having a look at that. But other than that, happy crafting over the next couple of weeks, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now.